If you're on the hunt for actionable insights on escaping the corporate grind, embracing entrepreneurship, and building financial freedom, then you've found your guide. Welcome to The Deep Dive with Drake, where the success stories of real entrepreneurs unfold. Join host Drake Abshire as he delves into creating a multifaceted entrepreneurial career, inspired by his impactful Southern heritage. The stage is set. Let's embark on this journey with Drake.
Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of The Deep Dive with Drake. I am super excited to have today's guest here with me today. It is Gina Miller. She is a publisher, a business owner. She was a photographer. She's a writer, a grandma, and a powerhouse entrepreneur who has been super inspiring to me. She is a friend of mine that I met through my journey in starting publishing, and I'm excited for her to share with you guys the different careers that she's had and how it's gotten her to where she is today, running a successful magazine. So Gina, please introduce yourself to everyone.
Drake, first off, thanks for inviting me to be on your podcast. It's an honor. Like you said, I am a publisher of a magazine. I publish Baton Rouge rural producers. And you said I'm a grandma. I need everyone to be completely shocked for just a second. You know, we love that. A mom.
She looks very young for a grandma, everyone. You don't see her.
Thank you. We laugh about that. The grandma is a new grandma today, but a mom of 3 incredible daughters, the wife of an incredible husband, and yes, all those things. I love everything that pretty much aligns with journalism and entrepreneurship. I love to write, take pictures, and I love just thinking up new ideas. Anything that allows me to exert creative energy. That's pretty much who I am.
Yeah, that's amazing. So when you started, you originally were somewhat dabbling in real estate, and then you made a lot of transitions to different careers. So when you made these shifts, I'm sure you had fears, you had doubts about those transitions. How did you address them?
Oh gosh, you know, everything is scary in the beginning. I just read something the other day that said you're not bad at what you're doing, you're just a beginner. And so I was dabbling. Dabbling's a great way to identify what I was doing in real estate. I was stinking at real estate. I had moved here from Texas and I had sold real estate in Texas when I was in my early 20s and loved it. But I did really well with it, but I knew everyone in a small town. I had a large, what they call sphere of influence, you know, that is necessary to do well in real estate. And when I moved here to Baton Rouge, got my real estate license. And when I tell you every person I met was a realtor or they were married to one. So it was a roadblock. I couldn't pronounce anybody's name. I didn't know the street names. I was not happy. And so I wanted to find something else. And I actually found real producers on LinkedIn and had to rub my eyes and do somewhat of a double take, because when it said entrepreneurship, journalism, and real estate would be a plus, I was like, oh, okay, wait, I can do that. So that's pretty much how I found it. And I wouldn't say it's been difficult. It's been kind of the easiest thing I've ever done, because it's taken everything that I'm passionate about and kind of married that together.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, and that's really so everyone has a little bit of a backstory. It's how me and Gina met. Originally, she was interviewing me as a real estate agent from my area because she was going to open a real producers in our area. And then ultimately, she decided to just stay focused on her Baton Rouge one. And then she called me later on and said, hey, why don't you give it a shot? And so lo and behold, never would have saw myself as being a publisher. I've never considered myself anyway a writer or any of that nature. But I thought it was a fun opportunity, and I was so glad I got involved, because now it brought us even closer together. We have so much more in common with all this. And she's continued to be a mentor to me. And that's why I wanted her to really show you guys some of her journey and experience. So really, what would you say has been some huge, difficult situations that you've had, or particularly tough challenges that you've encountered? And then how were you able to overcome them? And what experience did you think it gave you?
Wow. That's a broad question. Do you want me to talk about when I was in my 20s or 30s or 40s or
the ones that are highlighted for you, I guess I would say, or stick out the most in your mind.
I'll start now and I'll roll backwards. And let me just go ahead and add to what you just said. When I was trying to start Real Producers in your area and we met, you were going to be a rising star feature, and you were already such a supporter of what I was doing, and we were fast friends. And so it was so incredible that we were able to meet that way, and that the plan was there all along for you to take this. And so I don't want to just skirt over that, because it's really incredible the way that all of that worked out for both of us. But difficult challenges. So like I said, starting with Real Producers, I would say the sales part of it. So any type of advertising or medium has to have any type of marketing medium, whether it's television, radio, print, has to have advertising dollars. And so with that comes sales. I hate sales. I hate the idea that I have to go in and convince somebody that something is good or that something works. And that was my biggest challenge, was getting over those mental roadblocks there. And that if I believed in it, then I just needed to believe in what I was doing, and the sales would come organically. And I would say, other than that, just getting to know people. I tend to be a little bit more introverted. I like that I get to work from home. I like that I get to kind of set my own schedule, but I have to make myself get out there. Like, the business is only going to be as successful as I am networking. And so that's a challenge that I have to overcome that might be easy for some people, but I have to put it on my calendar. Like, you're going to go meet with this many people today. You're going to call this many people today. If not, I can tend to find a good book or create a new idea or something of that nature. So that is probably the best way to describe some local struggles. But if I go back, if you really want to know where some of the struggles come from, if you really want to touch on that, I would say starting over at this age in my life, like having to move to a new state and start over altogether with a new business was humbling and challenging, and I wanted to quit. Like I said, with the real estate part, it just wasn't easy for me. It felt like doors just kept slamming in my face, and I would go to job interviews and I would take my resume, and I had a history of jobs that should have qualified me for anything that I was applying for, and I couldn't get anything. And I would say, well, it's because I didn't graduate from LSU. It's because I'm old. It's because I don't know the right people. But I really believe it was all for a reason. But that was so difficult. And I said, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm 50, female, and forgotten. And that was a hard pill to swallow. And that was just a lie that I was telling myself. And so, not that you asked this question, but I would hope that my life would say, you're just getting started, that it's not the end of anything, that 50 can be your beginning. And I really feel that way about myself. I feel like I'm really just getting started. Like, this is the best part for me. What I'm getting to do now is what I've called my crescendo career. It's everything that I've ever had to do that maybe I didn't want to do, but it was a skill set that was necessary for me to do what I'm doing now. Does that kind of answer your question?
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, great. I know I love when I can get women in here, of course. And I think nowadays women can be very intimidated. You know, some people will say, oh, it's a man's world in certain places or things like that. But I think, in the real estate realm and, in the publishing realm, I think women are super powerhouses. And I run into women every single day that I think are strong and inspiring. So what advice would you say you have toward women in the entrepreneurial space, or that may, feel inadequate sometimes in that position?
Yeah, I love that question. First things first, surround yourself with people that know more than you, people that are doing more than you and doing things that you admire. So get in that room. Whatever it takes to get in that room, get in that room. Don't place yourself where you were just because you feel like that's where you need to be. Sometimes you outgrow things and you outgrow people, and be authentic. Like, no one wants a replica of you. Everybody wants the real you. And the ones that don't want the real you, they're not your people. And so what I would say to women is just be authentic, be yourself, be genuine, and continually challenge yourself and be a lifetime learner. Like, I cannot there's not enough hours in the day for the books I want to read, for the podcast I want to listen to, for the people that I want to be around, that I want to learn and grow from. And so if you don't have that in you, fine, hang up your coat, you're done. You enjoyed 50 years of your life and you can just call it good. But spend 5 minutes with me and I'm going to tell you, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think your past jobs have really influenced the way that you approach your client relationships?
I would say somewhat. I think just maybe not the past jobs, but the character training. So I'm very much about who you are more than what you do. And so I think the character that I have obtained along the way through doing some things that maybe I didn't necessarily want to do. There was a time when I was without a job that I worked in a steel recycling firm, and I had to put a hard hat on and go out with a magnet and find ferrous and non-ferrous metals. I had to wait tables for a period of time to make a car note. And so those weren't necessarily things that make me better with my clients now, but they make me more understanding. Like sometimes you have to take the back seat and you have to take a new perspective that everything is not given to you. When I tell you it was hard to move here and not be able to find a job, that's because I never interviewed for a job I didn't get. A funny story that I can share with you is going in when I was in college to a chair. They made office chairs and office equipment. And I walked in and I bebopped in there, and there was these other women waiting in the room to go in for their interview, and they had their briefcases and they were dressed very Ann Taylor Loft. And I come 19 years old, bebopping in there with nothing in my hand but the application that they had me fill out. And I go back in the office and they offer me the job, and I walk out. I walk out and these other women are sitting there, and I went, I got it. And they were like, what? Like, so when I tell you that's not always a good thing, because you're not learning anything but being told yes all the time. And so being told no can develop character in you. And it does make me probably a more pleasant person to be around because I'm more understanding, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. That was actually kind of segueing into my next question about how lessons have shaped your approach to your work and also your personal life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, gosh. To not take anything for granted, to just remain in the day and to, like I said earlier, surround yourself with other people that build you up and lift you up. And they're also honest with you. And so they'll check you when you're not checking yourself. You didn't necessarily ask this question, but I can tell you, I was teaching high school journalism in Texas. And I had a very steady job with a steady income and insurance. And I was a single mom to 3 girls at the time. And it was provision, but there wasn't any excess. So I started a photography business on the side, and I would shoot senior pictures and family photos, and I made extra money there. And I got an idea to open an organic juice bar in Lubbock, Texas. My daughter was going off to Texas Tech, and I thought, I'm going to move to Lubbock and I'm going to start over and I'm going to open a business. And designed an idea. It was called Rabbit Martinis. It actually started as a salad bar, but I couldn't get anybody to throw me a bone. I couldn't get anybody to believe in my idea. And I had a business plan written out, and I had names for all my salads. It was going to be so cool. And I was going to have salad bartenders. Like, it was going to be so cool. Couldn't get anybody to believe in me. And I go to another bank. I needed just a little bit more money to be able to make this work. And I was sitting in the lobby, and there was, I believe it was Inc. magazine, maybe Fortune, anyway. And on the cover of it, it said, so this would have been in 2013. On the cover, it said, juicing will be a $15 billion industry by 2015. And I went, okay. So I walked in and I said, hey, I want to open a juice bar called Rabbit Martinis. Juicing is predicted to be a $15 billion industry by 2015. They gave me the loan. And so suddenly, plot twist, I had to get a juicer, and all my salad recipes became juices. And so, that was a learning curve, but I was like, that's pretty cool. And one time I had somebody call me a chutzpah, which is just a Jewish term for a brazen woman, somebody that's pretty bold in what they do. And I was like, I like that. I want to be that forever. But taking all those steps and taking all of those chances. Like I said, I was teaching and I just up and quit my job in February without really a plan and on a wing and a prayer, and made something of it. And my juice bar did close 5.5 months later, and I had nothing left. So I lost my business. I had my car repoed, and it was a very challenging time, to say the least, but it brought me to where I am today. And that story is much more lengthy than I'm sharing with you now, but I don't think a lot of people know what other people have been through. So what they see is the now. They don't know what brought me to here. So I think with real producers, the thing that I'm able to do is sit with the realtors across the table from me and say, hey, what brought you here? How did you get here? And man, when you start hearing their stories, and I have learned to keep tissues in my purse because I've seen grown men cry. I had one in particular tell me he only needed to make $500 more a month to pay his bills. And he had a family and he didn't want to disappoint his family. So he thought, you know what, I'm going to get my real estate license and I just need to make $500 more. That's it each month for us to be able to make it. And then he was like in the top 10 in production. So, being able to hear their stories and me to have something relatable that I can pull from my hat if necessary to say, hey, you're safe here. You can share your story. I'm a huge advocate that when we share our story and the things we've been through, it's opens the door for other people to be able to do the same. And we've all been through some stuff. And if you haven't, congratulations, but buckle up because you're going to.
Right.
Right.
So I love that you're getting on the real producers train, because I know there's agents from probably maybe all around the country, agents from my area, from your area, who might be listening in, and they may be asking, about real producers. How can they get involved, or how can they support what we're doing? Because we are celebrating real estate agents, and different issues around the country are doing the same thing. So what would be your advice to agents who are looking to get involved in our real producers community, and, how they can benefit from it?
Oh my gosh, it's endless. There's nothing else like it. And so it's very much about collaboration. And I know it's rather cliche and it kind of gets overused in our industry where we say collaboration over competition. Well, this is a competitive industry. Let's just call it like it is. Like we're all trying to get the deal. But celebrating others never hurt anybody. And that's what Real Producers is. We are a celebration station. We are all about taking somebody and highlighting them. And like I said, sharing their story and letting other people know where they came from. And to get involved in that, if you're in the top 300 or top 500, depending which markets you're located in, congratulations, number one. That means you're probably the top 10 to 12% of license holders within your area. So we want to celebrate you. We want to remove the idea that you're just a realtor, and we want to kind of humanize the agents and get to know one another on a more personal level. So we are a relationship platform. And when I said earlier that we very much into who somebody is more than what they do, I say all the time that if these people got out of real estate, the ones that we've been able to connect through Real Producers, if they got out of real estate and they went and they opened a burger joint, or they decided to be an insurance agent, they would have a following because they've allowed people to get to know them if they're a good person, but they've allowed people to get to know them. So we do business with people that we know and that we've had an opportunity to develop a relationship with. And that's all Real Producers is. And so if you are not doing that, you're missing out. If you're trying to do it on your own in an island of one, that's a lie you're telling yourself. There's nothing but goodness to come from Real Producers. The heartbeat of it is to connect, elevate, and inspire others. And that's what we do. And look, I've had realtors say, which blows my mind, I don't want any part of this. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. And that's such a small dab. Like I'm talking just a little handful that I've experienced in the 5 years I've been doing this, that I've had somebody say, I don't want any part of this. Okay, that's fine. You don't have to do that. But not only the top 300 in an area are being influenced by Real Producers, but every license holder is, because they're looking at what top performers are doing. They are the local celebrities of real estate. And so they want to go where they go. They want to read what they read. They want to wear what they wear, drive what they drive. So there is a huge responsibility of top performing agents to set an example for somebody that's deciding to dive into this crazy, wild, mad industry.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think are quintessential qualities that people should have if they're in the entrepreneurial space, whether it be a publisher or a realtor or any of that nature?
Well, time management is going to be number one. Like, you have got to manage your time. You don't have 28 hours in a day and everybody else has 24. Like, we act like we have a little bit more than we have. And so you've got to be able to budget your time wisely. I would say that is a trait necessary for entrepreneurship. Another one is being, and I'm going to say it over and over again, just being a lifetime learner. What was true yesterday is probably different today. And so you've got to continue immersing yourself in learning and growing. And don't ever for a second think you have it figured out. If you think for a second you've got it all figured out and you even speak with that language, you're done, because somebody else is learning and growing and they're going to pass you up. So I would definitely say that. And then I would say just making it about others. Don't make it about yourself. Really think about the other person. Listen more than you talk. I'm talking a lot right now, but you're asking me questions. But I really think it's necessary to listen more than you talk. You don't want to miss anything. So,
Yeah,
and people love to be heard. People love to be heard. Yeah.
absolutely. Because nobody's listening. So I do notice that the second you can really stop and listen to someone, like, yeah, you increase your rapport, like you get a better relationship with them. They tend to gravitate to you more. So yeah, I hear you loud and clear on that one. And you're free to talk as much as you want because you are being interviewed. They hear enough of my voice. So, but what kind of legacy, Gina, do you want to leave behind in your career or, as a woman?
Yeah. Well, I said this starting back in, I think it was 2006 and I'm a chronic journaler. Like, I have always, from when I was a little girl, I kept a diary and I don't think I've ever quit, but now we call them journals. But I said when I was writing down a life's mission, and it was at a very difficult time in my life, and I started a Pinterest board called My Next Life. Like, I just started envisioning what my next life would look like. And I said I wanted to leave people, places, and things better than I found them. So that's really what I want my legacy to be, is that if somebody gets to spend 2 minutes or 2 days with me, that when they leave, they feel better for having been there. I think that we can leave places better with just such small decisions, like putting your shopping cart up for the love. Like, if
No,
you,
I don't want to walk that far.
oh, Drake, don't you dare tell me you don't put I call them buggies, but put it.
I try to. I try to. Okay.
Not only do you need to be putting it up, you need to be like combing the parking lot to see if there's a mom with two small kids that could use a little help, or the elderly, or somebody disadvantaged that maybe needs you to get their cart for them. So, that's leaving things better than you found it. If you see a gum wrapper, pick it up and throw it in the trash. People, places, and things better than you found it.
Yeah, no, that is really, really good advice, and you're making me think. I tend to think I am a helpful person, and I do love helping people, but sometimes I'm not as observant as I could be. So that's good advice. I appreciate that. Would you say your journey that you've had has changed your perspective on your life, or the goals that you've had for the future?
Oh yeah, always. I almost feel like every day changes me. Whatever it is that I go through in that day, as long as I'm open-minded enough to learn the lessons that life is trying to teach me, then you're going to learn from it. So yeah, my life has been a lot of lessons, and I wasn't always a quick study. So
Okay, awesome. What about your daily routine? Would you say that you have a daily routine that's really helped you to stay focused, because you do a lot of different things? You have a life on the side of your work. So where's the balance?
my gosh, listen, this is something I'm still trying to master. What a question. Like, I don't like this one. I'm going to be honest, but I'm going to answer it. I'm a New Year's junkie. So I'm the one that, man, it's January 1st. I've got a game plan. This is what it's going to look like. And I get a fresh new journal and I start time blocking, and it's going to be, I'm going to get up at 5:30. And from 5:30 to this, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I'm not going to put that plastic, like poisonous creamer in my coffee. And then I'm going to get this many steps in and I'm going to leave this many and da, 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 da. And I have all these amazing plans. And everything starts with a habit, so we can have goals, but if you do not create the habit, you're not going to reach your goals. And so I would say that just start somewhere, because that's what I'm doing. So if the goal is 5:30 and by 8 o'clock, I've exercised, I've made my bed, I'm ready, and I'm in my office with a open for business sign on the door, and I'm actively making calls and engaging in the business, I have to remind myself that I'm the boss. I'm the one that can hire me and fire me, so I'm still working on that. But as far as my routine goes, it is get up, make your bed, get ready, have some coffee. But laced in that is coffee, lean back in bed and playing Wordle and other brain games that I'm addicted to. I try not to get on like any email or social media or anything of that nature, because what I have found for me personally is that you do that for a second and 45 minutes to an hour and a half has passed of those 24 hours, those golden 24 hours that you've been given, and you've wasted it in a pit of nothingness. But I always go, oh my gosh, but there was a recipe that I watched and I'm going to cook that. No, I didn't. Or there's a new arm workout that I'm going to do. No, you didn't. So it's such a waste. So I think my routine more than anything else is just get up, get ready for the day and seize the day.
Yeah.
And then it's really flexible thereafter. Like I said, I mean, my calendar, I've got it all mapped out and it's color coded. And there are things on there that are non-negotiables because they're appointments. But then some of it will say like, make calls from 10 to 11:30. Well, I'm my own boss. I can be like, I'd rather go to Home Goods.
Yeah. We all have those days.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the beginning, we talked about, the shock of the century, about you being a grandma, and, you were obviously a mom and all those things. Any tips out there for working moms or working, still grandmas, or, how they can balance it all and get through it?
Well, balance is, it's not going to happen. I think it's just prioritizing more than anything else and deciding what is most important to you. And I will drop everything I'm doing to FaceTime one of my grandkids. None of you, nothing is more important than that to me. I live far from them, so there's a lot of distance involved. And so, and just prioritizing your relationship, with your spouse or with your friend, your significant other, whatever that is, like prioritizing things becomes a part of the balance. But you have to be flexible. You have to know that if you are very type A and everything is structured, and when you make a plan on January 1st, you stick to it, well, life's going to happen and you're going to get thrown off of that plan. And so one of my skill sets is being very flexible. I can just be like, okay, well, let's plot twist. Let's do something different. And, but balance, I know that was a big buzzword there for a while. And I tried myself, and I would even answer questions like, well, I'm just trying to balance this and that, or this and that. And yeah, there's no real balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, hopefully you find it as much as you can, and continue to find that, because I know life seems to be harder and harder these days, right? We do more and more, and it seems like it's harder and harder to make a living for a lot of people. So I know it's a constant struggle for everyone. In the spirit of vulnerability, what would you say is something that has really brought you a lot of fear or kept you up at night in your career or in your space? It can be even, something personal that you struggle with, and maybe someone can relate to your journey.
That's a great question. I hope this is perceived the way that I'm trying to deliver it. But one of my fears is and has been my own ability, living up to what I'm capable of and not wasting the gifts that God has given me. Like, I know there are things that I'm equipped and able to do, and they scare me to death. And so that is the thing that keeps me up. It's not, I don't think it's fears of things that feel tangible and right there at the surface and things that I should be afraid of, because I have a lot of peace about me with my prayer life and my faith. I've learned how to really surrender a lot of things and not just walk in that fear, because I did that in the past and it did me no good. It wasn't good for me or anybody else that was around me. So when I was able to relinquish that, that was a good thing. And that was really the moment that a lot of doors opened for me. But the fear that I do still face is my own capacity and completely taking all the gifts that I've been given and exhausting them here on earth. And public speaking scared me to death. My voice would shake. And when I first started Real Producers, and with that comes these really cool networking events. And there's all these people in the room that are impressive, incredible people that I look up to. And I'm supposed to grab a microphone and say, welcome. I'm throwing up in the back room. Like, it has scared me to death. There were times that Kurt would have to call and say, where are you? And I'm like, I'm not coming out. I'm not doing this. And now it's nothing to me. I have learned how to I don't know that it's a learning process more than just a mindset of like, this is no big deal, but it's also because of who I'm married to and how he encourages me to be myself and champions me. So who you're with and who's supporting you, be it marriage or friendships, really matters too. But if you are beating yourself down and you're in a relationship where somebody else is beating you down, you don't have what it takes to be able to do what God is calling you to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Well, let's go a bit more lighthearted, and we can get a bit more about your personality and get to know you a little bit more. So I'm going to do a rapid fire round of some questions with you, and you just answer them with your best answer that comes right to mind. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So here we go. So what is the favorite city that you could travel to?
Well, oh my gosh, probably one I haven't been to yet. I mean, I'm going to say Lubbock, where 2/3 of my kids are, and I would swing through Houston and pick up the other one and be there. So anywhere that my family is, that I can have fun anywhere.
Any bucket list countries you'd love to travel to?
Yes, Greece. I would love to go to Israel. Yeah, I've been to Ireland. I'd love to go back. Yeah.
Morning person or evening person?
Afternoon person.
Neither of them.
Afternoon.
Why afternoons?
You've got me at my peak right now.
Why afternoons?
I don't know. They're just that's when I feel the most energetic. That's when I feel like there's not the pressure of the morning and the day's not ending. It's like if I had to choose between morning and evening, I'm going to say evenings more than mornings.
Okay, awesome.
I know.
A hobby that you can't live without?
Writing.
Writing, yes.
Writing.
I do love that about you. And that makes sense with the Wordle and everything.
I love words. I mean, like, the dictionary app is the most used app on my phone. I play the games and my vocabulary is like this, but I'm always trying,
Absolutely. Also, this is a fun one. It is, what are you listening to? What are you reading? And what are you watching?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Listening to is probably, oh gosh, I know what it is. I was going to say I was going to say a podcast, but it's Post Malone's new album.
Yeah, it's good.
The country, it's so good. Yeah, I'm here for it. Good
Love
crossover posty. What I'm reading, I just finished Mind Shift by Erwin McManus. Quick read, so good. I'll read it every year. There's certain books that you pick up that you read every year.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm reading. Highly recommend that. One that I read last year that I always like to give a shout out to is Unreasonable Hospitality. Really good one. And then what was the last question?
What are you watching?
What am I watching? I've tried not to watch much lately, but the last shows that deserve my name attached to them that I binged would be Mad Men.
Mhm.
I did watch Suits. Yeah, like I don't know what it is about that corporate industry and anything to do with advertising. I'm sold.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I felt like all of my friends started the suit trend at the same time, and it's like it was this big hit. I felt like years after, which is kind of crazy. But I don't know if Netflix, bringing it back up makes that happen. But
Yeah, yeah.
so looking ahead, do you have some goals or some aspirations that you're going to try to reach with your career? What's on the horizon for you?
Okay. Well, I definitely want to grow my local real producers to its maximum potential, and I have not done that yet. And so I want that to happen. I would love to start my own niche magazine. I would love to start something. Yeah, that's a goal. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I would love to finish a few books. I used to write children's books, and I have several different books that I've written that I've never done anything with that talk about my journey, more about like what I was sharing earlier about that season in my life that was difficult. And like I said, our stories are always they happen to encourage others. If you make it to the other side of it, you've got a story to tell, and that story needs to be told. And I know that. And that goes back to those fears. When you put things out there, they're left for subjection, for other people to have their own take on it. And I'm like, oh, that's scary. So trying to overcome some of those fears. I want to travel more. I do want to see the world. I didn't have a lot of answers for you when you said, where do you want to go and what do you want to do? Because I haven't traveled as much as I should. It's all I can do when I get some time off to get to my kids because of the distance between us. But I would definitely say that. And then also, I would love to reach like my peak performance physically. I've lived in a gym before and I've done all of this, but everything used to be with weighing a certain amount or fitting in a certain size jeans. And as you get older, as women, and women, I need you to hear this, as you get older, you put on weight, your metabolism slows down. And I'm just going to give that a run for its money and take where I am now in life and commit to really working on my health, whether it be through diet, exercise, and also mentally, just an acceptance of who I am. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Any final words for our listeners? Any wishes you have for them or last thoughts?
Yeah, just keep listening to Drake. If you don't know Drake, you need to know him. He's a light, your sunshine. So I just want to encourage you. I don't know who's listening or if anybody listens, but I want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing because I know this takes a few ounces of bravery to put yourself out there, but you're giving people like myself an opportunity to share. And this is my inaugural podcast, just so you know. I've never done this
Oh, good.
before. I was on like a little talk radio show, right? As real producers, as the inception of real producers here in the Baton Rouge area came about, I was invited on talk radio. It mortifies me to even see it pop back up in my memories on Facebook because I didn't know what the heck I was talking about. I didn't know what I was doing yet. And I'm on a local talk radio just talking. But I just want to encourage you to keep doing what you're doing and give people a platform to share their story. And you're killing it in real estate and then running a publication and still making time for others. And so thank you for that.
Well, I'm completely honored and I appreciate you so much. You've been so helpful to me. And of course, we appreciate having you on the show. This has been amazing to learn from you. And I'm excited to continue to watch your journey and watch you grow. If anyone wants to get in touch with you, Gina, what are the best ways that they can, get to know you, connect with you, help you in any way that they want to?
Awesome. Well, I have two different Instagram accounts. I have the Baton Rouge Real Producers account, which is just that. I also have Rabbit Martinis. So that was the juice bar, started the Instagram. Instagram kind of came about while I was running the juice bar. And so just kept the name just to kind of pay honor and tribute to that time in my life. So they can find me there. They can get my telephone number from you. Call me direct. I'm old fashioned. I love a telephone call. I love that. Text me, call me, whatever. Yeah, just I'm on Facebook too, but I'm not. Like, you can find me there, but you'll get lost in messages that I never go read. So don't try to get me via Facebook.
Noted. Phone or Instagram, we got it.
Yeah.
And of course, Baton Rouge produces very successful magazine. She runs a beautiful magazine. So if you're looking for an opportunity to grow your business in the Baton Rouge area, definitely reach out to Gina. If you're looking to grow your business in Lafayette, let me know. I would love to be able to help you. But thank you again, Gina, so much for coming on this episode of The Deep Dive. I am so excited to have you here and enjoyed our conversation. And of course, thank you guys for listening in. Of course, if you'd like to leave us a review about this podcast, we would love to hear how you're enjoying the show. Anything you would love to hear us talk about more, let us know in anywhere you're listening to podcasts. You can leave us that review. And of course, I will see you guys in the next episode. Until then, keep diving deep and inspiring others.
Thank you for diving into the world of entrepreneurial grit, personal growth, and financial mastery. Drake is here to arm you with the necessary toolkit to cultivate, nurture, and realize your groundbreaking ideas. Keep journeying with us by tuning in to subsequent episodes at deepdivewithdrake.com. The path to a flourishing entrepreneurial life is within reach if you commandeer your professional voyage and steadfastly chase your ambitions. See you on the next highly engaging episode. Until next time.